Though many players still hail Xbox Game Pass as the greatest deal in gaming, Sony has made sure that PlayStation Plus subscribers have plenty to play on PS5 at launch by way of the PlayStation Plus collection. Comprised of some of the best first and third party games from the entire PS4 era, this selection of 20 games is an ideal way to revisit a modern classic or jump into an exceptional treat for the very first time. But how do these 20 games stack up to one another, and which ones are most worth your time? We've ranked the entire collection in one handy video to put this question to bed for good. I'm Aaron from Console Deals, now let's see how things shook out.
The only question that matters.
Fallout 4 will always be remembered as the last good entry before Fallout 76's controversially buggy launch, and transition to an always online game with MMO elements. It successfully translates all the best parts of Fallout 3 and adds in fun gameplay elements like base building, but its nature to stay so slavish to the tenets initially introduced in Fallout 3 makes the main adventure feel a little samey. Plus, we're still having nightmares about Preston Garvey's infamous catchphrase.
Another settlement has sent word that they need our help. I'll mark it on your map.
Released early on in the PlayStation 4's lifecycle, Infamous Second Son might pale in comparison to its previous two entries centred on the lightning-powered Cole McGrath, but this impressive recreation of Seattle is still a thrill to explore. Delsin might be a tough character to empathise with in either the dark or light path, but his ability to be a conduit and take on more than one superpower still makes Second Son one of the most flexible open-world superhero games around. After moving farther and farther away from the series' core roots, DICE and EA went back to complete some unfinished business with the release of Battlefield 1 by setting players in World War I. The Frostbite engine depicts each battle's harrowing events to a hauntingly realistic degree, whether you choose to do so in the single-player anthology missions or in the top-tier multiplayer. Duking it out with up to 64 other players is still fun 4 years later, making it a fun multiplayer pick for the PlayStation Plus collection.
As if it happened so long ago that anyone could forget.
Bend Studios' first original game for PlayStation should have been a rousing mission statement for what the first-party studio could achieve going forward, but a bloated campaign, unlikable main protagonist and repetitive mission design held it back. Throw in the overplayed zombie setting and Days Gone was always going to find it hard to beat the odds. Unfortunately, it didn't quite manage it during its initial 2018 release, yet its nature to run at 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5 should make it worth another look. Thousands of players still play Black Ops 3 Zombie mode to this day, with many considering it to be the best that the Horde-based mode has ever been. Sure, it's worth taking a look at anyway thanks to Jeff Goldblum's appearance as a wacky magician, but the fact that it will include the base map and full Zombies Chronicles expansion in the PlayStation Plus collection makes it a cooperative PS5 player's dream. Remakes don't get more faithful than 2017's Crash Bandicoot in the Sane Trilogy, which expertly recreates all three of the original Crash Bandicoot PlayStation 1 games from the ground up with all new assets and visuals. It's an accurate reminder of how far 3D platformers have come as well as where they started, with the Insane Trilogy testing your ability to keep your cool as you jump, spin and dash your way from surface to surface. It's three excellent games in one, right from the get-go.
It's Kara. This is where it all began.
Set in a fictional universe where humanity's every need is seen to and catered for by androids, Detroit Become Human continues Quantic Dream's expert blend of interactive gameplay and emotional storytelling. It sets you in the shoes of three rebellious androids all at a different stage of the singularity, letting you make decisions that could see them die or affect the outcome of the story. Think of it like Telltale, but on a huge budget. Close to a decade in the making, Final Fantasy XV finally released in 2015 to deliver a very different type of experience that longtime fans were used to. Turn-based gameplay is completely gone in favour of real-time action, weaved around a tale following Prince Noctis and his bromantic companions on the ultimate road trip to save the world. Final Fantasy XV Royal Edition is by far the definitive version, so think of it as a good primer before Final Fantasy XVI eventually arrives. Mortal Kombat X took the blueprint the Mortal Kombat reboot from 2011 set down and absolutely ran with it, rendering X-ray maneuvers in even gorier detail and introducing multiple fighting styles for each character to make every one-on-one encounter feel utterly unique. Classic characters like Scorpion, Sub-Zero and Raiden all play great, as do new mainstays like Erron Black and D'Vorah. X may have since been usurped by Mortal Kombat 11 in terms of greatness, but this is still a great fighting game.
Finish him.
Imagine a night
This was the right thing to do.
where every decision
Until Dawn marked Supermassive Games' first attempt at interactive horror, setting players in the shoes of multiple characters who could live or die at any moment. It's an absolute homage to the campy horror that used to permeate the genre in the late 70s and 80s, featuring multiple outcomes and twists that may change depending on your choices. Man of Medan and Little Hope might be the most recent spook 'em ups from the developer, but Until Dawn is still the leader of this slasher fiction pack. Previously resigned to underpowered handheld gaming consoles for the longest time, it took the full power of PlayStation 4 to render Monster Hunter's colossal beasts more accurately at their true scale. World easily represents the best this series has ever been, making several improvements, such as reduced load times and cat-like companions, to make taking down monsters as a party of 4 thrilling and motivating. It's gone on to receive a sizable winter expansion in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and its community is still very hungry and active. From a legion of giant beasts to just one, The Last Guardian served as the perfect extension of ideas originally laid down in Echo and Shadow of the Colossus, resulting in one of the most unique PS4 exclusives out there. Japan Studios' magnum opus centres on a small boy and his relationship with a gigantic dog-like beast known as Trico. Together, they must traverse deadly lands and solve puzzles while escaping any pursuing threats, strengthening the bond between them in this delightful 12 to 14 hour journey. By switching the perspective to first person and grounding the scares into just one house tucked into the Louisiana bayou, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard returned the classic survival horror series to its former glory. Gone is the emphasis on shooting, running and chopping off zombie heads, instead being replaced by classic Resident Evil tropes like puzzle solving, inventory management and an unnerving atmosphere. It's the best the series has ever been.
We need to go now.
The only true conclusion.
Rocksteady's open-world superhero series never looked or played better than in Batman Arkham Knight. Concluding the trilogy was by no means an easy feat, and while there might be too much emphasis on tank combat, Gotham's dank and gritty atmosphere really sells the idea that you are the city's only chance at survival in Batman Arkham Knight. Free-flow combat is kinetic, gliding over the city is never a bore, and solving the mystery of the Arkham Knight himself is enough to keep you engrossed in this scarecrow-led story. Becoming the Batman has never been easier.
Live on. Only man comes to an end.
Bloodborne represents the apex of the still relatively new genre of hardcore action RPGs. The good news is that it's a lot more flexible and fast-paced with its combat, but don't take this to mean that it isn't challenging. There are several dark foes and menacing boss villains lurking around the streets of Yharnam, all waiting to go toe-to-toe with you. Bloodborne has been cited by a particular subset of players as one of the greatest games of all time, improving on its Dark Souls forebearers in almost every way. Sequel, please? This upscaled remastering of Naughty Dog's first zombie adventure maintains the essence of the original while making slight graphical improvements to make the PS4 version the best way to play. We can't imagine how great The Last of Us Remastered will appear on PS5. Joel and Ellie's road trip across the dilapidated United States is still thought of as one of the best stories in games, touching upon themes like loss, fatherhood and survival. If you've still not played this modern classic yet, definitely check it out as part of the PlayStation Plus collection. The PlayStation Vita must have sold countless units purely on the back of Persona 4 Golden being a console exclusive. However, just when you thought that the otherworldly fighting antics of high schoolers in Japan couldn't get any better, Atlus released Persona 5 on PlayStation 4 and improved upon the classic JRPG format in every way. Part traditional RPG and part social simulator, you'll play as a new Phantom Thief recruit entering the minds of tortured teachers, exploring their mind palaces at night and going to school by day.
We were meant for this, Nathan.
Nathan Drake's final rope-swinging adventure was an appropriately melancholic swan song, but still a rambunctious journey set across the globe. Classic companions like Sully and Elena return alongside Nathan's long-lost brother Sam, who forces him out of retirement to embark on one last adventure. A Thief's End explores the origins of the Drake brothers further than ever before, fighting the forces of an evil enemy in search of a hidden treasure that will have drastic repercussions if unleashed. We loved it on PlayStation 4 and can't wait to see how it'll look on PlayStation 5.
Are you ready to seek your fortune?
Oh boy.
Remember what I taught you.
What did you teach me?
With A Rift Apart still many months away, now is the perfect time to revisit Ratchet & Clank's rebooted adventure from 2016. It's still the closest thing we have to a playable Pixar movie, sure to benefit further from PlayStation 5's increased power. Ratchet & Clank might be a relatively brief experience at just 8 to 10 hours, but it doesn't make exploring colourful worlds or blasting bots with creative weaponry any less thrilling or fun. Every PlayStation fan deserves to play Ratchet & Clank, and now it's easier than ever thanks to its inclusion on the PlayStation Plus collection.
You think I'm weak because I'm not like you.
Another exceptional reboot came in the form of God of War in 2018, which easily tops our list of the best PlayStation Plus collection games due to its seamless blend of engrossing story and tight, over-the-shoulder melee combat. It's a PlayStation exclusive that is almost near perfect on all fronts, taking place in the guise of a single shot that follows a newly reformed Kratos who has retired into the land of Norse mythology. Him and his son Atreus must face overwhelming odds, and we can't wait to play it on PlayStation 5.
Long way from home, aren't you?
So there you have it guys, our complete ranking of every single game featured in the PlayStation Plus collection on PlayStation 5. Do you agree with our picks? Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this, and let us know in the comments which one you'll be revisiting first. Happy gaming!